Good morning, my name is Carly Arbor, and today I'll be talking about performance enhancement drugs. So performance enhancement drugs that I'll be talking about today are steroids. Steroids are the most commonly used performance enhancement drug in the United States right now. The reason they're most commonly used are because people always want to be stronger. They want to be better than their present self. So a healthy way to do this is working out, having a good and strong scheduled diet, a strict diet. And some would recommend fasting. I don't recommend fasting as working in a gym. I've seen people who fast and they are mean. They do not. People need to eat. They need that energy. And people who fast do not get that. So they're angry. But the steroids are the easy way to take, and the supplements that come, it's a much faster way to get bigger and to get stronger, when really it's falsely bulking is what it's called in the nutrition world. Some of these side effects of the steroids that are not mentioned loudly enough, in my personal opinion, are that steroids can cause cancer, it can cause strokes, it can cause weakness to the reproductive system of men and women, and it can also cause depression and anger and aggressiveness to people who are not usually aggressive or angry at all. It can completely change someone's personal look on who they think they are at that current moment in time. And it doesn't just affect athletes, it can affect day-to-day people. I have a personal experience with steroids. I had a friend who was prescribed steroids because she injured her back very badly in a car accident, and she stopped taking them because of the side effects, and it made her have a strange outlook on who she was. So she just stopped taking them altogether, told her doctor about the side effects and that it wasn't worth it, so they prescribed her something else when they could have prescribed her something else in the first place without steroids in the look of it. I don't think they should be used in any way in the health field or for bulking purposes. Patients should not be prescribed to steroids. I don't think they offer enough benefits that come with the side effects of the medication or of the drug. And then I will be talking about the unfairness and the overlook in the sports field on steroids and how players should be tested frequently for steroids. The first story I'm going to talk about today is from Get Smart About Drugs. It is about a 17-year-old boy named Taylor Hooten. Taylor Hooten was a star pitcher in his high school baseball team, and he was always described as being responsible and a handsome young man. He was smaller, he was skinny, and he was lanky. So he wanted to look like the other guys on his team, which were bulky, and he wanted to act like them too. But he didn't recognize that these actions weren't who these people really were. So this article is from his parents' standpoint. So he was always described as being responsible and handsome, like I said, until he came across steroids, which caused Taylor, who was a 17-year-old boy, to take his own life. His parents started noticing these bodily changes and his mood swings first, but they didn't relate them to the use of drugs or steroids in particular because they never thought that their son would do such things. They didn't connect it. I wouldn't have connected it if my son had never taken any drugs or anything like that, especially steroids, because from where he was, they never thought that even the players on his team were taking steroids. So they were alarmed by the changes that Taylor was going through so quickly at such a young age. So they took him to get drug tested, and he, of course, passed the drug test because most drug tests don't have performance enhancement drugs on the test. So he continued to take them because he got away with it. He didn't get caught. This started destroying Taylor's body and his own emotions without even realization, I don't think at such a young age you'll really notice, because you're going through so many changes that your body naturally does. He threatened to take a knife and kill himself to his mother. He was very aggressive towards his mother, which was strange because he was described as a mama's boy. After many sessions, or after that situation where he threatened to take his own life, he was taken to a psychiatrist. After many sessions, the psychiatrist got out of Taylor, and Taylor finally told the psychiatrist that he was taking performance enhancement drugs and or steroids. The psychiatrist immediately told Taylor to tell his parents and to stop taking the steroids cold turkey. This would be the best way to get him off of it. He didn't want to tell his parents because he didn't want to disappoint them. So he continued to take them while trying to take them less, kind of like a swing off. But this caused him to still be aggressive and depressive. So one situation that was described in this article, that which led to Taylor taking his own life, he was caught stealing a laptop and a camera. So he was punished. He was grounded, of course, after begging for his parents to lift the punishments because he couldn't handle being socially isolated as much as he was already being mentally isolated from everyone else, including his family. They refused to lift the punishment, so this resulted in Taylor taking his own life because the depressive moods were so overtaking in his mental health. The steroids and syringes were then found by the police that investigated the case in his room. And this is just one of the many stories that are told from steroids and their awful side effects. From Science Daily, deaths were recorded in over an average follow-up of 7.4 years. There were 7 or 1.3% deaths among users of anabolic steroids and 23% among participants in the control group, translating to a 3 times higher risk of death associated with steroids. That's too high in my personal opinion. We're going to jump into the professional sports world. It is a very, very competitive field to go into, especially if you don't have good confidence with who you are and what your body looks like and what you hold that others do not. So if you don't have that realization within yourself, it's going to be very easy to fall into peer pressure of steroids. One article that I'm using are steroids are harmful. And it says the problem is so newsworthy that steroid use in professional baseball was the topic of numerous news reports in the summer of 2002. One common theme running along the reports in the baseball players find the allure so powerful due to the potentially profitable and short-term rewards of increased strength and performance. As well as steroids do make you stronger and they can increase your athletic abilities, they're not permanent results. They are not permanent at all, but the side effects can be permanent. Don't take them. They're not worth it at all. Many athletes, after taking steroids and not taking their own life and coming off the steroids, have went around millions of schools telling kids, don't take these, don't fall into that peer pressure, it's not worth it. People should know that they do not have to rely on performance enhancement drugs to excel in what they are doing, but they need to be told that. I think coaches and teammates that are watching the behavior changes and body features change should step up and say, hey, if you're doing this, let me know and I can help you. And I think that that's such a beneficial way to get these kids off of it. And having support in general is just amazing, especially if you're addicted to something that is hard to come off of. We're going to dive into the medical field. The second point of how patients should not be prescribed. Michigan health system is one that I'm diving into, one source that I used. Doctors are told to inform patients about the side effects that come for this drug for men and women. Some major side effects that come include high blood pressure, heart attacks, stroke, liver disease, irritability, rage, aggression, violence, and many more. Doctors will not prescribe steroids to enhance athletic performance, but there are athletes that will do anything in their best ability to get a hold of these performance and drugs. One article that I'm going to also talk about is drug caution on child asthma. The study from Southampton University explained that the half of children with mild to moderate asthma being treated with inhaled steroids to prevent asthma attacks. After 7 months of treatment, child receiving steroids were 1 centimeter shorter than the peers in the control group. So what I mentioned earlier can stunt bone growth. This is one side effects that these drugs do have and that have been medically proven. I think doctors can have many more alternatives other than just steroids. And then my final topic, or my opposing viewpoint that I'm going to talk about, is coming from Carl T. Hall. Steroids, though dangerous, do have redeeming qualities. It was published in 2004. This is a quote from the article that I think would influence peer pressure for younger kids and athletes. Although steroids were widely considered to be an unfair way for athletes to boost their performance, these drugs do have legitimate medical purposes. So this is when they would include the pain relief for athletes who get injured, especially in like football or baseball or any sport really. There's always injuries that come with everything. Steroids help aging men build muscle mass and speed the healing of injured muscles. Going back to my story about my friend, it did help her pain, but it did not help her mentally. And if you're not okay mentally, are you really okay physically? Because you're going to freak yourself out. You're going to Google everything about what's wrong with you, and it's going to freak you out even more. Don't Google stuff, by the way. But these steroids make you so irritable and aggressive and angry towards people that you would never be angry towards, or yourself, and very depressed. While steroids can have positive attributes, there are alternatives that provide the same outcome without the crazy side effects. That was a article taken by a doctor who would prescribe steroids to patients until he had so many patients come in and tell them about these crazy situations that they've been put in because of this, and he stopped prescribing them all altogether. I think in our generation, people have acknowledged and have done enough research about the steroids, and they're becoming less prominent, but they are still happening today, and we need to put a stop to it because we do not need any other reason for our younger generations to start taking their own life because of comparisons and social media and all of this stuff. Steroids should just not be allowed. I think they should be completely illegal in any situation. There's always an alternative, like that doctor said, without the crazy side effects. And hard work and exercising can provide them with the same boost of confidence and abilities. And that is my speech on my outline and performance enhancement drugs. From working from a business that does see some of this happen, it is very sad, and I think it should be stopped immediately. Thank you.